Have you noticed how quickly grocery shopping habits can change when a new month approaches? One week, the shelves look completely normal. The next week, certain products suddenly seem to be disappearing faster. Prices change. Promotions end. And the foods people normally ignore suddenly become much more important. That's why some prepared households don't wait until they hear about a shortage before thinking about their pantry. They quietly build their supplies ahead of time. Not by panic buying. Not by emptying shelves. But by purchasing the everyday foods they already know they'll use. And with September approaching, this is a good time to look at what you have in your own kitchen. Because September can bring changing weather, new school routines, increased household activity, and for many families, a return to more structured meal planning. It's also a reminder that another season is getting closer. And the best time to discover that your pantry is missing something is before you actually need it. Today, we're counting down 15 critical grocery items that prepared shoppers may want to consider buying before September. Some are affordable staples. Some can help create complete meals. Others can provide variety when fresh foods aren't readily available. And a few are items that people often forget until they're standing in an empty grocery aisle. But there's an important rule throughout this list. Don't buy something just because someone online tells you to stockpile it. Buy what your household actually eats. Check what you already have. Compare prices. Watch expiration and best buy dates. Store food properly. And build your supply gradually according to your budget. Preparedness isn't about fear. It's about having options. If a grocery store is temporarily out of something you normally buy, you don't want that to become an emergency. You want to be able to open your pantry, look at what you've already prepared, and know that you're covered for a while. Before we begin, subscribe to Prepper Pulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical grocery tips, food storage ideas, preparedness strategies, and emergency planning information to help you stay informed and ready. Now let's count down 15 critical grocery items preppers are quietly buying before September. Starting with number 15. Number 15. Canned carrots. Starting our countdown at number 15 is a simple grocery item that can add something important to an emergency pantry. Canned carrots. They may not look like a critical preparedness food, but that's exactly why they're easy to overlook. Fresh carrots can last for a while when stored properly, but eventually they spoil. Canned carrots provide another option. They're already cooked. They don't require refrigeration while unopened. And they can be added directly to meals when you need something quick. You can serve them as a side dish. Add them to soup. Mix them with rice. Combine them with canned meat. Or add them to a stew. That versatility is important because a good emergency pantry shouldn't consist only of foods that are eaten by themselves. You want ingredients that can work together. Canned carrots can add color, texture, and variety to otherwise simple meals. They're also useful for households that want some vegetables available without depending entirely on fresh produce. When shopping, compare can sizes and prices. You may find regular and reduced sodium varieties. Choose according to your household's preferences and dietary needs. Inspect the cans before purchasing. Avoid cans that are severely swollen, leaking, or badly damaged. Once home, store them in a cool, dry place and rotate them regularly. Use older cans first and replace them during normal shopping trips. There's no reason to buy dozens of cans if your family rarely eats carrots. The smartest stockpile is one that fits your household. Canned carrots earn the number 15 spot because they're shelf-stable, convenient, easy to prepare, and can provide a simple vegetable option when fresh produce isn't available. And the next item is something that can add protein and variety to a pantry without requiring a refrigerator. Number 14. Canned salmon. At number 14 is a pantry protein that deserves much more attention. Canned salmon. When fresh meat or seafood isn't available, canned salmon can provide another shelf-stable protein option. It doesn't require refrigeration while unopened. It can be eaten with crackers, mixed into a salad, added to pasta, combined with rice, or used to make simple salmon patties when you have the ingredients and cooking equipment available. That versatility is exactly what makes it useful for preparedness. You don't want a pantry where every meal depends on the same protein source. Having several options can help prevent food fatigue and give you more ways to build balanced meals. Canned salmon can also provide nutrients such as protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Different products vary, so check the nutrition label and choose according to your household's needs. You'll also find different varieties, including products with bones and skin. Those can provide additional calcium, but not everyone prefers them. Choose what your household will actually eat. When buying canned seafood, pay attention to the can condition. Avoid cans that are swollen, leaking, or severely damaged. Store them in a cool, dry pantry and rotate them regularly. It's also worth checking current guidance about seafood consumption for children, pregnant people, and anyone who eats fish frequently. The goal isn't to buy an enormous quantity. A few cans can provide a useful backup protein source without taking up much storage space. Canned salmon earns the number 14 spot because it's shelf-stable, nutritious, versatile, and gives your emergency pantry another protein option. And the next grocery item is something that can turn basic pantry ingredients into a much more satisfying meal. Number 13. Macaroni and cheese. At number 13 is a comfort food that can become surprisingly useful when you're trying to build a practical pantry. Macaroni and cheese. It may not sound like a serious preparedness food, but emergency food doesn't always have to be complicated. Sometimes familiar food is exactly what you need. Boxed macaroni and cheese is inexpensive, lightweight, easy to store, and simple to prepare. It can serve as a quick meal on its own. Or you can add other ingredients to make it more substantial. Canned vegetables, shelf-stable protein, seasonings, or other pantry ingredients can completely change the meal. That flexibility matters when you're trying to stretch your grocery supply. Another advantage is that boxed macaroni and cheese doesn't require refrigeration while unopened. It can sit in a cool, dry pantry until you need it. However, remember that most varieties require water and heat for preparation. If you're preparing for a power outage or another situation where your normal kitchen may not work, consider how you'll safely cook it. When shopping, compare different brands and package sizes. Some products may require additional ingredients such as milk or butter. Others may be designed to use only water. Read the directions before buying so you know what your emergency meal actually requires. You can also keep a few varieties your family already enjoys. There's no point filling your pantry with foods nobody wants to eat. Rotate your supply and use older boxes first. Macaroni and cheese earns the number 13 spot because it's affordable, familiar, shelf-stable, and easy to combine with other foods. And the next item is something that can help you create meals, snacks, and even homemade baked goods from one simple pantry staple. Number 12. Cornmeal. At number 12 is a grocery item that can quietly provide a lot of flexibility in an emergency pantry. Cornmeal. It's easy to overlook because many people don't use it every week. But if you know how to use it, cornmeal can become a surprisingly versatile staple. You can use it to make cornbread, cornmeal porridge, coatings for certain foods, or other simple recipes depending on the type you purchase. That means one bag can serve several purposes. It can also help you create something warm and filling from relatively basic ingredients. When you're preparing for an emergency, having ingredients that can be transformed into different meals is valuable. You don't necessarily need dozens of different products. You need a few versatile staples that work well together. Cornmeal is also relatively inexpensive compared with many ready-made foods. But storage matters. Because it's a dry grain product, moisture and pantry pests can become a problem. Keep unopened packages in a cool, dry location. Once opened, transfer the cornmeal to an appropriate airtight food container if needed. Check the package for storage instructions and rotate your supply regularly. When shopping, pay attention to whether you're buying cornmeal, corn flour, or another finely ground corn product. They aren't always interchangeable in recipes. Choose the product that matches what your household actually cooks. And don't buy a huge amount if you've never used it before. Try a smaller package first. Learn how to prepare it. Then decide whether it belongs in your long-term pantry. Cornmeal earns the number 12 spot because it's inexpensive, versatile, easy to store, and capable of becoming several different types of meals. And the next grocery item is something that can provide a quick source of calories without requiring much preparation. Number 11. Dried fruit. At number 11 is something that can add sweetness, calories, and variety to a pantry without requiring refrigeration. Dried fruit. Raisins, dried apricots, dates, prunes, and other dried fruits can be useful additions to an emergency food supply. Unlike fresh fruit, dried fruit doesn't spoil as quickly when stored properly. That makes it convenient for situations where access to fresh produce is limited. It's also ready to eat. No cooking, no peeling, no preparation. You can eat it as a snack. Add it to oatmeal. Mix it into cereal. Combine it with nuts. Or use it in baking when your kitchen is operating normally. Dried fruit can also be useful for emergency meals because it provides concentrated calories in a relatively small package. That makes it easier to store than large quantities of fresh fruit. However, portion size matters. Because the water has been removed, dried fruit is more concentrated in natural sugars and calories than the same amount of fresh fruit. Some products also contain added sugar. Read the label before buying. If you prefer products without added sugar, look for varieties that contain only the fruit itself. Storage is important too. Keep dried fruit sealed tightly after opening. Moisture can affect quality, and pantry pests may be attracted to improperly stored foods. For longer storage, an appropriate airtight food container can help. Rotate your supply regularly and use older packages first. Dried fruit earns the number 11 spot because it's portable, shelf-friendly, ready to eat, and can add variety to otherwise repetitive emergency meals. And now we're entering the top 10. The next grocery item is something that can help you make a simple pantry meal taste completely different without adding much weight or storage space. Number 10. Soy sauce. We're entering the top 10. At number 10 is a small bottle that can completely change the taste of basic pantry foods. Soy sauce. When you're eating simple meals repeatedly, flavor becomes more important than you might expect. Plain rice, noodles, vegetables, beans, or canned proteins can become much more enjoyable with the right seasoning. That's where soy sauce can help. A small amount can add a strong savory flavor without requiring a long list of ingredients. It can be used with rice, mixed into noodles, added to stir-fried vegetables, used in marinades, or simply added to a basic meal when it needs more flavor. And because you only need a small amount at a time, one bottle can last a surprisingly long time. That makes it efficient from a storage perspective. There are also different varieties available. Regular soy sauce, reduced sodium options, and other styles with different flavor profiles. Choose based on your household's preferences and dietary needs. If sodium is a concern, compare labels carefully. Storage is relatively simple while unopened. Keep the bottle according to the manufacturer's instructions and refrigerate after opening if the label recommends it. Make sure the cap is securely closed between uses. Soy sauce earns the number 10 spot because it takes up little space, lasts a long time, and can turn basic emergency ingredients into meals that feel much less repetitive. And now we're moving toward the top 5. The next grocery item is something that can provide a surprisingly useful source of calories and can be eaten without cooking. Number 9. Trail mix. At number 9 is a food that can provide a combination of calories, protein, and convenience in one package. Trail mix. A typical trail mix may contain nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and sometimes other ingredients such as chocolate or cereal pieces. That combination makes it useful as a quick snack when you don't have time or equipment to prepare a full meal. It's ready to eat, portable, and easy to portion. You can keep individual servings in an emergency bag or store a larger container in your pantry. Trail mix can also be useful during power outages, road closures, evacuations, or other situations where cooking isn't convenient. But there's an important consideration. Not all trail mix is the same. Some varieties contain a lot of added sugar, salt, or chocolate. Others are mostly nuts and dried fruit. Read the nutrition label and choose the type that fits your household. Allergies are another major consideration. Nuts can cause severe allergic reactions. If anyone in your household has a nut allergy, choose an appropriate alternative. Storage also matters. Nuts contain oils that can eventually become rancid, especially when exposed to heat. Keep trail mix sealed and store it according to the package directions. For longer storage, cooler conditions may help preserve quality, but always follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Check the best by date and rotate your supply. Trail mix earns the number 9 spot because it's portable, ready to eat, calorie-dense, and convenient when normal meal preparation isn't possible. And the next grocery item is something that can provide a simple way to add protein to meals without relying on refrigeration. Number 8. Canned lentils. At number 8 is a pantry food that deserves more attention from anyone building a practical emergency supply. Canned lentils. Lentils are naturally rich in plant-based protein and fiber, and the canned version has one major advantage. It's already cooked. That means you can open the can and use the lentils immediately, without the long cooking time normally associated with dried legumes. During an emergency, that convenience can matter. You can add canned lentils to soup. Mix them with vegetables. Combine them with rice. Use them in a simple salad. Or season them and eat them as a side dish. They can also help stretch other foods. A small amount of meat combined with lentils can create a more filling meal. And a basic vegetable soup can become substantially more satisfying with lentils added. When shopping, compare sodium levels and serving sizes. If you want to reduce sodium, look for lower sodium varieties or rinse the lentils before using them when appropriate. Check the cans carefully before storing them. Avoid containers that are swollen, leaking, or severely damaged. Store them in a cool, dry location and rotate your stock regularly. Canned lentils earn the number 8 spot because they're shelf-stable, ready to eat, versatile, and provide a useful plant-based protein option. And now we're getting closer to the final 7. The next grocery item is something that can provide a simple source of carbohydrates and help you build quick meals without much preparation. Number 7. Instant mashed potatoes. We're now at number 7. And this is one of those grocery items that can become surprisingly useful when you're short on time, fuel, or cooking options. Instant mashed potatoes. Unlike whole potatoes, instant mashed potatoes are dehydrated and designed for quick preparation. In many cases, all you need is hot water and the ingredients specified on the package. That makes them convenient during situations where you don't want to spend a long time cooking. You can serve them as a side dish. Pair them with canned meat. Mix them with vegetables. Add gravy or seasonings. Or use them as part of a larger meal. They're also lightweight compared with storing large quantities of fresh potatoes. That can make them easier to keep in a pantry. However, there's an important detail to remember. Instant mashed potatoes still require safe water and usually heat. So if you're building an emergency food supply specifically for power outages, make sure you have an appropriate method for heating water. When shopping, compare different varieties. Some contain significant amounts of sodium or added ingredients. If dietary restrictions matter in your household, read the label carefully. Store unopened packages in a cool, dry location. Protect them from moisture and pantry pests. Once opened, reseal the package properly or transfer the contents to an appropriate airtight container if needed. Instant mashed potatoes earn the number 7 spot because they're lightweight, easy to prepare, versatile, and capable of turning a simple pantry meal into something much more filling. And now we're entering the top 6. The next grocery item is something many people keep in their kitchen already, but having an extra supply can provide valuable flexibility when fresh ingredients aren't available. Number 6. Canned mushrooms. We're now in the top 6. At number 6 is a small pantry ingredient that can make basic meals feel much more complete. Canned mushrooms. They may not be the first food that comes to mind when you hear the word survival. But that's exactly why they can be useful. Preparedness isn't only about calories. It's also about having ingredients that give you variety. Canned mushrooms can be added to pasta, rice, soups, gravy, casseroles, sauces, or meals made with canned meat. They're already prepared and don't require refrigeration while unopened. That makes them convenient when fresh mushrooms aren't available. They can also help stretch other ingredients. A small amount of canned chicken or another protein can feel like a larger meal when combined with vegetables and a flavorful sauce. When shopping, you'll find sliced, whole, seasoned, and different sodium varieties. Choose what your household actually enjoys. If you're watching sodium, compare labels and consider lower sodium options. Inspect cans before buying. Avoid cans that are swollen, leaking, or badly damaged. Store them in a cool, dry pantry and rotate your supply regularly. You don't need to purchase a huge quantity. A few cans can provide plenty of flexibility. Canned mushrooms earn the number 6 spot because they're shelf-stable, easy to use, compact, and capable of adding flavor and texture to many different pantry meals. And now we're down to the final 5. The next grocery item is something that can help you create satisfying meals while also providing an important source of calories. Number 5. Granola. We're now in the top 5. At number 5 is a simple food that can work as breakfast, a snack, or an emergency grab-and-go option. Granola. Granola can be useful because it requires no cooking. You can eat it straight from the package. Mix it with shelf-stable milk. Add dried fruit. Combine it with nuts. Or use it as a topping for other foods. That makes it especially convenient during an emergency when you may not have access to your normal kitchen. It's also easy to portion. You can prepare small servings ahead of time or keep individual packages in an emergency bag. But granola varies significantly from one product to another. Some varieties contain substantial amounts of added sugar. Others are packed with nuts and seeds and may provide more protein and healthy fats. Read the nutrition label and choose according to your household's needs. Allergens are also important. Many granolas contain nuts, peanuts, or other common allergens. Check the ingredients carefully. Storage matters too. Granola contains ingredients that can lose quality when exposed to heat or moisture. Keep unopened packages in a cool, dry place according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Once opened, seal the package tightly. If you're storing it for preparedness, rotate it regularly rather than letting it sit untouched for years. Granola earns the number 5 spot because it's ready to eat, portable, versatile, and can provide quick energy without requiring cooking. And now we're down to the final 4. The next grocery item is something that can make basic emergency meals far more enjoyable with just a small amount. Number 4. Dried herbs and seasonings. We're down to the final 4. And at number 4 is something most people don't think about when they hear the word stockpile. Dried herbs and seasonings. Imagine having plenty of food, but every meal tastes exactly the same. Plain rice, basic beans, simple pasta, canned vegetables. After a few days, that can become surprisingly frustrating. That's why seasonings deserve a place in your pantry. Dried oregano, basil, thyme, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, black pepper, and other familiar seasonings can completely change the taste of simple ingredients. A small amount can go a long way. That means you can store a lot of flavor without taking up much space. Seasonings can also help you create variety from the same basic foods. Rice can taste completely different with different herbs and spices. Beans can become more interesting. Canned vegetables can be seasoned. And simple soups can become much more enjoyable. When shopping, focus on seasonings your household already uses. Don't buy 20 jars just because they're inexpensive. Choose the ones that can work across multiple meals. Storage is simple. Keep dried herbs and spices tightly sealed in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight and moisture. Over time, they can lose their flavor and aroma even if they remain safe to use. That's why rotation matters. Use older containers first and replace them as needed. Dried herbs and seasonings earn the number 4 spot because they're inexpensive, compact, easy to store, and can dramatically improve the variety of emergency meals. And now we're down to the final 3. The next grocery item is something that can provide a convenient source of energy without requiring refrigeration or cooking. Number 3. Sunflower seeds. We're down to the final 3. At number 3 is a compact grocery item that can provide calories, healthy fats, and some protein. Sunflower seeds. They may not be the first thing you think of when planning an emergency pantry, but their convenience makes them worth considering. Sunflower seeds can be eaten straight from the package, added to salads, mixed into oatmeal, combined with dried fruit, or used as a crunchy topping for simple meals. They're especially useful when you want something that requires absolutely no cooking. That can matter during power outages or other situations where normal meal preparation becomes difficult. Sunflower seeds also take up relatively little space compared with many other foods. However, there are a few things to consider. Some varieties are heavily salted. Others contain added flavorings. If sodium or other dietary factors matter to your household, compare the nutrition labels carefully. You should also consider allergies and individual dietary needs. Storage is important because seeds contain natural oils that can eventually become rancid, especially when exposed to heat. Keep unopened packages according to the manufacturer's instructions and reseal them tightly after opening. For longer storage, follow the product's recommended conditions. Don't buy a massive quantity unless your household already eats sunflower seeds. Instead, start with a reasonable amount and rotate it. Sunflower seeds earn the number 3 spot because they're compact, ready to eat, require no cooking, and can provide a useful combination of calories and nutrients. And now we're down to the final 2. The next grocery item is something that can make a surprisingly large difference when you're trying to build filling meals from simple pantry ingredients. Number 2. Canned chickpeas. We're down to the final 2. At number 2 is a pantry staple that can work in an incredible number of meals. Canned chickpeas. Also known as garbanzo beans, chickpeas are a versatile source of plant-based protein, carbohydrates, and fiber. And the canned version has one major advantage. They're already cooked. That means you don't have to spend hours soaking and boiling dried chickpeas before you can eat them. During an emergency, that convenience can be extremely valuable. You can add chickpeas to salads. Mix them with rice. Add them to soups and stews. Mash them into spreads. Season them as a simple side dish. Or combine them with other canned vegetables to create a quick meal. They can also help stretch more expensive ingredients. For example, a small amount of canned meat combined with chickpeas and vegetables can create a much more filling dish. That's exactly the kind of flexibility you want from an emergency pantry. When shopping, compare sodium levels and ingredients. If you prefer lower sodium options, look for those products or rinse the chickpeas before use when appropriate. Inspect every can before storing it. Avoid cans that are severely dented, swollen, leaking, or otherwise damaged. Store them in a cool, dry place and rotate them regularly. And remember, you don't need 100 cans. A reasonable supply that fits your household's normal eating habits is far more practical. Canned chickpeas earn the number 2 spot because they're shelf-stable, ready to use, versatile, filling, and provide a useful plant-based protein option. And now we've reached number 1. The final grocery item is one that can help turn several other pantry ingredients into a satisfying meal. Number 1. Canned coconut milk. We've reached number 1. And this final grocery item may not be the first thing you think of when you hear the word preparedness. Canned coconut milk. Why put it at number 1? Because it's one of those ingredients that can dramatically expand what you can do with a basic pantry. Coconut milk can turn plain rice into a creamy meal. It can form the base of a curry. It can be added to soups, used in sauces, combined with vegetables, or paired with canned proteins to create completely different flavors. That versatility is incredibly valuable when you're working with a limited selection of ingredients. Imagine having rice, canned chickpeas, vegetables, and seasonings. Those ingredients can already make several meals. Add coconut milk, and suddenly you have another entire category of recipes available. That's what makes a good preparedness pantry powerful. It's not simply about having large quantities of food. It's about having ingredients that work together. Canned coconut milk also doesn't require refrigeration while unopened. That makes it practical for pantry storage. However, always check the label and follow the manufacturer's storage instructions. Once opened, refrigerate it if directed and use it within the recommended time frame. When shopping, compare different varieties. Some products are full fat. Others are light. Some contain additional ingredients or stabilizers. Choose the type that matches how your household cooks. Inspect cans before buying and avoid severely damaged, swollen, or leaking cans. Store unopened cans in a cool, dry location and rotate them regularly. And don't buy a huge quantity if you've never cooked with coconut milk before. Try a few recipes first. Make sure your household enjoys it. Then decide how much makes sense for your pantry. Canned coconut milk earns the #1 spot because it's shelf-stable, versatile, compact, and capable of transforming simple pantry staples into completely different meals. So there you have it. 15 critical grocery items you may want to consider buying before September. Canned carrots, canned salmon, macaroni and cheese, cornmeal, dried fruit, soy sauce, trail mix, canned lentils, instant mashed potatoes, canned mushrooms, granola, dried herbs and seasonings, sunflower seeds, canned chickpeas, and canned coconut milk. But remember, this isn't a reason to panic. It's a reason to plan. Don't buy food simply because someone says it's going to disappear. Look at your own household first. What do you eat? What do you already have? What are you running low on? And which foods can you realistically store and rotate? Those questions are much more important than trying to predict exactly what grocery prices or store shelves will look like in September. Build your supply gradually. Take advantage of normal sales. Store food properly. Protect dry goods from moisture and pests. Rotate older products first. And most importantly, buy foods your family will actually eat. Because the best emergency pantry isn't the one with the most products. It's the one that's practical, organized, affordable, and ready before you need it. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Prepper Pulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical grocery tips, preparedness strategies, food storage ideas, and emergency planning information to help you stay informed and ready. Stay prepared, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.